Good morning, Yamhill County. Still learning these buttons. I'm sure that we'll figure it out. We will get there soon.
It's been a good day so far. Very entertaining, at least in this little room.
Right, we've got lights, we've got camera, we've got action.
We're trying a new experiment today. We're gonna record this and then broadcast it on MCM. We hope when we get it figured out so that it actually works.
We do the dry run-throughs first.
Oh heck, Imus can do it. Dan Patrick does it. I don't see why we can't.
Yeah, I know, and there we go. So I think that I've got my mic volume up loud enough for everyone to hear
Perfect.
now.
Very, very good.
Awesome. So, well, we've got weather out there right now, nice and cloudy. Big change from what we've been having recently.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yep.
I think fall has fell.
Really, you buy your tickets to Florida, you're all done.
I make my reservations in southern Utah.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the weather right here, and you can just see that it's just going from, well, we had the 70s earlier, and you can just see it 65 today, 61 tomorrow, 56 Monday.
Look what it says for Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday it's gonna be sunny, 59.
Yeah, look at the cold temperature though.
Oh, look, 35.
Yeah.
Monday night or Monday morning is also an expected of 32, so that is what you wanted to get into.
That's it.
Because we've been talking about frost and the dangers that it's going to have on your garden.
Here it comes.
And here it comes. More than likely, right?
Yeah, more than likely, right. Well, in low-lying areas, it's definitely gonna hit. So you want to bring those fuchsias in under protective custody. Yeah.
Good.
Put them in the garage.
Right.
And
well, what else? I mean, we've got to, if you want to get that, now's not the time to probably mow your lawn. You're going to have some sensitivity issues with that. Or you could look at it the other way. Now's the last time the last opportunity you have to mow your lawn.
yeah, it's time to get her into winter trim, and after the frost hits, the grass will slow down growing, so it'll be pretty much whatever length you leave it for several weeks.
Right.
That's the beauty of, and it'll still stay nice and green. It'll be fine.
It's going to start getting greener. As long as this cold, it stays away. We're not getting frost constantly. We keep the temperature above 40, 45.
Well, even people that had the good sense to go ahead and let it go dormant in August and September for a little bit, that really helps grass regenerate because it focuses all of the energy on the root structure to protect the roots when it does get cold.
Right.
And then in September, when the rains normally come back, of course we kind of cheated this year by extending our growing season by several weeks. But it's still, when it does get cold, then the lawn has kind of prepared itself for surviving winter temperatures.
Right, because all of the nutrients get moved down to the
Right.
roots underneath the soil, the safest place for them.
Yeah, it takes the nutrient out of the blade of the grass, and everything that's been stored upstairs goes down into the basement and helps the grass protect itself.
Right.
So
And there's other things, like you were talking about the fuchsias, those obviously need to be taken care of. Basically anything. I'm going to put my cactus inside.
yeah, it's time to bring in the hen and chicks.
Yeah. Do you really have to bring them in? You're giving me new information right now that I'm unaware of.
Well, the ones that are in the pots.
Right, I've got them in the pots.
Okay, you might just want to move them over next to the house.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
Because if you're unfamiliar with what a hen and chick is, it's a succulent, right?
right.
And it almost looks like a kind of a cactus flower looking thing, but they grow really fast. We have those at the plant sale every year.
Yep.
And I stocked up on. I mean, I just bought one little 4-inch pot of them, and I've got them just spewing over my foot pot right now, 12-inch pot.
Well, they're really handy if you want to have something decorative in a pot that's not going to get watered and is out in direct sunlight, because they tolerate that really, really well. And then they overwinter pretty good too.
I matched them with begonias, and the red it complemented each other very
That's a good
nicely.
combination.
Yeah, and the thing about these the succulents is like the sedum too. You don't really have to do anything to them. You can neglect them, and they make really great ground cover.
Oh, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they could just spread. They spread everywhere.
And they'll make flowers in springtime.
They are very unique looking flowers, very soft, pale pink flowers. But as soon as those flowers die, it's a skeleton, and it makes the whole thing look really nasty.
Well, it has a really great chartreuse green in some of them, but I went to a garden in our little roundabout that had a sedum garden
Right.
that had every color above green in this garden, oranges and reds and yellows,
Wow.
and it was all in the leaves. It wasn't flowers. It was in the leaf structure itself. So you had this. They had them planted so they were like rainbows of red and orange and green and yellows, and every shade golds.
Right, because with these sedums and stone crops, it really is amazing how many different colors you can get for these things that are just, they look like cactuses without spines, and they look like they're just full of so much water, but they don't require a lot of water. You can, they're water-wise plants. You can neglect them, like I said, but the color range that you get from them it's pretty amazing, and especially for ground cover. If you're looking to cover, feet, acres, or something, acres.
Oh,
If you want to cover acres, you're going to look for something else. But no, if you're looking to cover a big patch of bare spot in your garden, I like the sedum for that.
Well, today we're going to discuss some mushrooms later. We're going to discuss the Master Gardener class that's coming up in January, a little bit of that later. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call us. We are live, we are here, we are real.
That's right, and you can get us at area code 503-435-1260. That's 435-1260 here in McMinnville.
And if you have questions during the week, of course, you can call the extension office at 503-434-7517 and leave samples if you have questions about plants at 2050 Lafayette Avenue at the extension office, and go in there and the girls will take your information and somebody will review your issues and get back to you, usually within 2 or 3 days at the most. And if you have soil samples that you want to get pH tested now, which is a really good idea to prepare your garden for winter, and also start preparing it for next spring, bring in your soil samples and we'll pH test them for free, and just bring them over to the extension office on Lafayette Avenue in a very small container. We don't need a whole cottage cheese can full of dirt.
Right, just a tablespoon is all you really need.
Yeah, a tablespoon in an old pill canister or film canister. Well, I used to say film canister. They don't exist anymore.
I still have some film canisters laying around, just because they make such convenient little canisters.
Yeah, well, an old pill jar works really well.
An old one?
Yeah, one that doesn't have your current medications in it. Make sure you take all your medications properly before you bring your dirt to the extension office.
Right, they said to bring my pill box.
Unless you... No, never mind. We won't go there.
No, we won't go there.
Sharing dirt only.
Only dirt, but that's what the extension office is definitely there for, answering any of the questions that you might have about gardening or the soil sampling. I took I needed a far more in-depth soil sample test done, so I went to a local lab that does that, and I got the results back, and I have to end up liming my field 2 pounds, or I can't even remember what it is, but say it's like 2 pounds per acre, something like that. 2 tons per acre. That's more like it.
That's more like it.
That's more like it. 2 tons per acre. So I've been on their waiting list to have this done, to have them come out to me, which I'm a beginning farmer. I don't know all of these things. I don't know the people to contact. I don't know the time frame for a lot of these things, but apparently a month-long wait list is not unheard of for these for a lime treatment, and it's like that for a lot of things. I needed to have the land survey come out, and it's like, okay, we have a month wait. So and because there are a lot of there's a lot less skilled labor out there for the job demands that are required, but But yeah, I saw the line, and that's the teasing and the taunting that goes on, because as I'm driving around, I can see the lime trucks, the semis with all of this stuff that I need, and they're just driving right by. Vroom, vroom.
And not going to your
Not
house.
going to my house. It's like, I just want to stop them and say, am I on your list?
Yeah.
I would like to be on your list, please.
Well, I can understand, because we have thousands and thousands of open field acres here in Yamhill County that commercially grow and really do use volumes of lime, but it's an important chemical even for your local garden, for your flower garden, for your lawn. It's a very basic chemical that keeps the soil sweet so that the roots can do their little water exchange thing just fine and absorb minerals from the soil.
It's one of the most cost-effective things that you can do to enhance your soil, because whereas I'm getting the 2 tons per acre, that's not really required for the home garden. For the home garden, it's not expensive at all, and the benefits that you get that perfect soil pH, you get the access to the nitrogen. It's just most cost-effective way.
Well, because of the water and rains coming, the calcium is the first chemical to get washed out of the soil or washed away, because it does bond with water really nicely. And in your yard, it's pretty simple math. It's actually kind of, if you use like a 20-pound sack per 1,000 square feet, you'll be just about right.
Yeah, people are picturing 20 pounds, just carrying out a big lump sack, and how do you deal with that?
It's the size that's advertised in the little flyers you get in the mail. When they go on sale, it's a good time to go ahead and pick up 2 or 3 sacks. Usually you can get it for less than $6 a sack. So it's a really cheap fix, as opposed to fertilizers and things that may cost $20-30 a sack.
Right.
And lime is just such a basic chemical that it really is a wonderful addition to your lawn and gardens, especially here in Yamhill County.
Yeah, we require it usually.
Yeah. But anyway, back to what we were going to chit-chat about. We had a special request to discuss mushrooms.
Which we have discussed on the show before, and we like now, had many disclaimers with that, which is picking mushrooms is very dangerous. It's not something that should be taken lightly. You shouldn't put a mushroom in your mouth just because you found it.
Nope. Take an expert with you. Make sure that you've Googled and got pictures of what you want to pick.
Right. But even then,
Even
there
then.
are some things that don't show up on the photograph that might be a big telling sign, like where the spots are.
Exactly. And if you have questions, you can get your mushrooms identified if you bring them in a brown paper bag to the extension office with your name and address so that you can be contacted later. We do have one of the master gardeners is an expert in mushrooms, actually has a blog site and has photographed mushrooms all over Oregon. Really cool guy, and is extremely knowledgeable and will tell you whether it's safe to eat or not. But you have to bring it in and then be patient, because it may take, he may be out chasing mushrooms himself.
That's right. He could be across the country picking up those wild mushrooms that are elsewhere.
He could be up in the Strawberry Mountains in eastern Oregon someplace. We never really know for sure where he's at.
Yeah, I was on the blog, and it is amazing how many field trips they go on.
Yeah, and wonderful pictures that they bring back.
Right.
It's really a cool blog site. But sack them up, bring them over. I heartily recommend just using commercially grown mushrooms, and we're very blessed that we have access to a wide variety of commercially grown mushrooms here in Yamhill County. They are a wonderful accent to just about any foods, well, at least the ones I eat, stir fries and soups and salads and sandwiches. And I'm kind of a mushroom muncher.
I like mushrooms, but I'm really lazy for going after them. I will buy what's at the grocery store.
I just feel so much safer if it's at Safeway or Winco.
It's not even, it is kind of about that, but it's that if you go to the farmer's market, there's going to be somebody selling mushrooms there,
Right.
and that's great, and that's fine. But the McMinnville Farmers Market is no longer open, right?
No, it was done the second week of October. We have to wait now till the end of May again.
But I'm pretty sure you could go down to 3rd Street and find some locally grown morels or chanterelles.
Well, I go to the Saturday market, there used to be a mushroom vendor there that did locally grown, and they were really good because they were really fresh. They were picked like Friday.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to worry about them starting to sag or droop or get dried up. You can throw them right into food.
And I will tell you though, I don't have a full interest in mushrooms except when we do these shows, because then it makes me feel like, oh, well, maybe I should go out on a field trip, because it would be nice to be able to go. Because at the school I'm going to right now, everywhere there is a tall evergreen tree. At the root base, you got these big white mushrooms grouped together. And I still haven't figured out what those mushrooms are.
Grab a couple and take them over.
That is exactly what I'm going to do. Because and you told me that today. I did not even know as a master gardener that this service was offered.
Well, underneath the pine trees across the parking lot from our condo is a place where amiatas grow, and those are the great big ones with the red dots on them, and they're beautiful, beautiful shroom. Don't eat those.
That doesn't sound safe. If you say red dot on anything in wildlife, I have to pause.
Don't eat those. That's bad crackers.
Yeah.
Well, every year you hear somebody that goes picking mushrooms up in the gorge, and they lose a liver or something.
Oh,
that's it. It happens. It's almost a yearly occurrence, and then the warning goes out.
Yeah, no, my wife and I saw one of those Dateline specials about a family that went up and camping, and the dad said, "Hey, I found these mushrooms, fed them to the family." Everybody, basically, their livers got just blown away.
Oh, you can lose them.
Almost died. Everybody almost died.
No. That's not good. It really is dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. That's why I stick with the commercially ones that are sitting on the shelf under the nice bright lights. That's fine for me. And then when we go to potlucks, that's generally the first thing I dive for is the little button mushrooms and the blue cheese dressing.
Exactly, the button mushrooms. They've got the non-flavor I'm looking for.
Well, you can add anything to them, and they accept it just quite nicely. And our yummy fillers, they're virtually calorie-free.
Right.
So they're excellent munchies.
Yeah. But why don't we talk about some of the popular ones that are in Oregon that people might come across, and how they are. When I think of them, I honestly think of those chanterelles.
Those are pretty common in the woods, and they're fairly safe because they are so bright yellow, trumpet shaped. But the people who pick them commercially in the woods guard their spaces pretty carefully. They don't really let out the secret where they are. But they're fairly easy to find if you're familiar with traipsing through the woods at all. They're highly regarded mushrooms and really, really favored for their golden yellow color, rich flavor. Gathering from the wild is usually in the fall, so they're out there right now.
Oh, they're out there right now, yeah. What I really like about them is when I usually see them, they're on a fallen tree that's been there for a while, and they're growing in the cracks of that. And I've actually seen some farms, and all they do is they take logs and they just stack them like log cabins, and they drill holes in the logs and squirt this inoculation into them, and then you've got mushrooms.
Well, we have wild morels here that grow on oak logs and things like that.
See,
oak stumps.
I would love to eat just the sound of morel. That sounds like a good mushroom to eat. It looks hardy too.
Oh, besides being really kind of cute.
Well,
it's cute for a mushroom.
Right, it's as cute as mushrooms get.
I wouldn't want to date one, but maybe in a past life, who knows?
Right.
But they go with just about any vegetable, any combination of flavorings. Really good with Mediterranean flavors, because they hold the flavor really well. So they're an excellent addition to any kind of vegetable dishes and casseroles.
Most mushrooms are great for that property. They're just sponges of whatever is around in them, the sauce, anything will just soak it right up. But we're going to go ahead and jump into a break right now, and then we will get back to some mushrooms.
I'm ready.
And then maybe we'll talk about some master gardening classes that are coming up also.
Yep.
But right now you're listening to KLYC 1260 AM, McMinnville.
Good exchange.
They respond. But they want to make sure you're not financially burdened if you have to be taken to the hospital in an ambulance. Did you know a hospital transport ride in an ambulance can cost $1,500 or more? However, with a Fire Med membership, that same ride can be totally covered for as little as $70 for residents and families inside the McMinnville city limits, and $90 for an entire family outside the McMinnville city limits. That amount covers your entire immediate family. FireMed plan also covers you in most of Oregon. FireMed, it's peace of mind and it's affordable. Call now to sign up. 503-435-5800. 503-435-5800. FireMed through McMinnville Fire Department. What are you saving for? It's a good question because big dreams are financed by smart savings, and there's no better time to start saving than when you're young. That's why First Federal waives monthly service fees and minimum balance requirements for account holders under 18 years of age. So skip or run to First Federal because your big dreams of tomorrow really do start with saving today. Your friends at First Federal are ready to help you invest in your tomorrows. First Federal. We're here for you.
Pete Talbot here again for Cannon Beach Conference Center with a great idea for your family this Thanksgiving. How about 4 days and 3 nights starting off with an incredible Thanksgiving feast, followed by excellent Bible teaching by Dr. Ron Allen from Dallas Theological Seminary, plus tons of fun and terrific programs for the kids from nursery through high school. A truly memorable Thanksgiving at Cannon Beach. Call for more information, 1-800-745-1546, or go online at cbcc.net.
We're back.
Yes, we are. To the root of it on KLYC Radio, 1260 AM on Saturday morning. We're discussing mushrooms right now.
Right now, and we've been talking about the morel. I just looked at a picture of it again, and
Very distinct little critter.
they look like sponges, like something that you might find underwater. One of those kinds of sponges. They're
Yeah.
really unique, and probably easy to spot.
They really are. But the most common ones that people use are the agaricus, which are the little white button mushrooms, and those are the ones you see in the food trays at a potluck and the dinners. And I'm going to be looking forward to tonight. We're gonna dress up and go out tonight.
Because tonight's the night to go dress up.
Yeah. So I will be grazing heavily in the vegetable trade.
And those are the most common, and the reason being that they're probably the easiest to grow, and in the lab in a controlled environment.
Well, for just normal cooking, I've switched over to the cremini, the little brown ones. They're really flavorful.
Isn't that funny how I don't know, like 20 years ago there was really only one choice of mushroom, and it was that white one, and then all of a sudden the brown one came along, and it's like, oh well, isn't that unique?
Now there's portobellas and anokis, the little white stringy things with the little tiny heads on the top of them.
How do you feel about those?
It takes a lot of them.
For me, it tastes like rot. It tastes like I'm eating mold, that I'm eating fungus, because I think they're just too, I don't know.
Too fungusy?
They're stringy. You can actually peel them off like they're string cheese. They behave in a rotten cheese sort of manner for me.
But they don't taste like rotten cheese.
And that's the thing is when I eat them for the first time, it's like eating sprouts for the first time. It's like, oh wow, isn't that refreshing? That crunchy,
Yeah,
isn't that great? But then after a while, they've got a bad aftertaste for me.
Well, yeah, a few of them on top of the salad are more decorative than actually.
And they look like sprouts.
Nourishing.
They look like they would be mushroom sprouts.
We used to, when I worked in log yards, we used to look for mushrooms that came in hollow logs. There was one that we commonly just called it a brain mushroom, coral mushroom. And guys would grab them up and take them home and soak them in salt water for half an hour to kill bugs and fungus, and then wash them out real good, and then just chop them up and saute them with hash browns and onions, and my goodness gracious, they were nummy.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to take the class because it does sound fun. I mean, you're out hiking in the woods anyway. Why not just come back with something to eat, right? I mean, Oregon's really famous for having a few nationally recognized foragers out there with best-selling books, and it is something that you think about. But with mushrooms, I don't know, it really is. It's scary sometimes.
Well, I did find out that they actually have they're not really, the ones that we were eating are actually called hen of the woods, miyataki, and they appear in a rippling fan shape. They don't have caps. They have a very distinctive aroma and a rich woody taste, and they look just like the pictures, but they add a really neat taste to soups and side dishes and stuff like that. If you like mushroom soup, it's a good one to find. But please, people, do take pictures with you.
Right.
You know, do your research before you go shopping, because we need to have you listen to the radio station, not being turned in a ICU someplace.
Right.
Which can happen.
But this is, like I've said, this is a time for mushrooms.
Yeah.
It is definitely getting a little bit more moist out there, getting some dry spells. And
yeah. A
it's
little
getting
warmth
really
in the
good.
afternoon,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they pop right up. The chanterelles are probably the safest to go out and find on your own because they're so distinctively colored.
Right.
But there again, you gotta kind of find the right neighborhood. There's wonderful recipes that can be found online for mushroom soups and things to do with them. So
The
get after.
portobello. Well, the portobello, that's the most, for me, that's the most robust, the most useful. I mean, you can make a portobello burger. You know, you cook it like it's hamburger. You got I mean, it's big enough to be
Oh, yeah.
open like a hamburger.
And they'll hold a lot of stuff. I mean, now personally, I would take and stuff a portobello with a little mild Italian sausage and some onions and cheese, and then grill it so that it holds the material that I really want to eat.
Ray, that sounds really good. That sounds good, and I would like to eat one right now.
We'll have to run downtown and see if we can get a grilled portobello mushroom
Right.
for breakfast.
Right, exactly.
Or a nice mushroom omelet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have the Master Gardener class coming up, and they're taking sign-ups right now, and it's kind of, due to space, they don't want to have more than about 30 people in the class in January, but there's, I think, a goodly number have already paid. There's been like 15 applications
Wow.
so far, so keep your eyes peeled for the ad.
And it doesn't start until January.
No, January 9
Right.
is the first class. It goes from January 9 till March the something or other.
March, the paper in front of you.
Yeah.
But it's the class that every Master Gardener volunteer has taken. It's pretty, I don't know, each day, 1 day a week, you're looking at 8 hours of classes, and on topics that are just, everything that you'd ever want to know about gardening, and everything you want to know about plants, plant identification. What else?
Here it is. Well, it goes January 9 till March 20 this year, and it is on Thursday. Starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. The cost is $175, but that does include your 500-page training manual, which you can keep for life. It also includes all of your printed materials.
The Master Gardener annual fee is included in that also.
Yep, for the first year.
Right.
So it's actually a pretty good deal. The classes are taught by extension personnel, instructors from Oregon State University, certified master gardeners who are specialists in particular fields. And it's really an excellent program. It does take a while. It's not an overnight course. There is some online work that you need to do. Part of the classes are actually modules that are done online. They try to do those in the morning because, after all, it is January, February, and March.
Right.
And if we get a really icky day and travel is not safe in the morning, the afternoon classes don't start till about 11 o'clock. By that time, even your road should be plowed.
Well, and it's really great because the classes are, like I said, plant ID, composting. You've got soils, because you need to, there are different kinds of soils out there, so it breaks down. If you don't know about soil structure, then you'll get to learn about clay, sand.
Yeah. Insect and disease identification and what to do about it. Care and culture of ornamental plants, house plants, small fruits, lawns, home orchards, and vegetables.
Now here's one that I haven't seen, or I don't even remember taking, urban forestry, which is woody landscape plants, but urban forestry, I don't think I remember that particular module.
Really?
Really? So what are we talking about there? Just trees? And,
well, that's care of your evergreens that you have in your yard, including trees, pine trees.
You know what? I think that
conifers.
I remember now that a takeaway that I have from that class was that you don't plant trees and then put a sidewalk underneath their root systems.
Yeah, there you go. You don't plant a spruce tree 6 feet from your house.
Right.
You want to, care and placing of trees on your property is very important. Especially if you have in-ground sewer lines.
So I don't even remember the class, but I remember that tidbit from it.
It's where I found out what killed my spruce tree.
Was it you?
No, it was a bug called a woolly adelgid.
That sounds like something that would kill a spruce tree.
Oh, it's a very minuscule, like evergreen mite. Oops, we have a call coming in.
There's nothing oops about that. All
But
right, this is where we go ahead and pick up.
I'll
the
get
call.
back to the adelgid later.
Oops.
We're gonna try to do this.
We are going to
Be
try
patient.
To do this. I'm pretty sure that I
Have them call back.
I
Yeah.
just hung up on the person who just called.
Yeah, call back.
Call back, please. This is really great, though. Gardening and radio technician. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the classes, because then you've got there's just a lot more classes to be able to name, and they range in from 4 hours to, like you said, online modules. But it's really a great system to get into, because you get a lot thrown at you, and then over a year of volunteering, then you get that much more knowledge. You get hands-on. You get to talk to people like Ray that know stuff that you don't know,
Like Ray.
and then you can figure all of that out.
Well, integrated pest management was probably the most fun class for me, because you don't have to just go out and kill stuff. There's ways to get rid of it without poisoning your cat.
Well, don't poison your cat, but I need to get a verminator or something like that for the gophers and the moles that are out there and wreaking havoc right now.
I used to pheasant hunt with a guy that was hell on gophers. We'd be out in the fields of eastern Washington pheasant hunting,
The colors on
and next thing we know is Gary'd be missing, and pretty soon you'd hear this boom, you see a cloud of dust go up, and he'd be over there. He'd see a gopher start to dig up, and he'd automatically break off the hunt and go sit there with his shotgun.
Yep.
Very effective.
And we do have the caller online now. They've got to hear our entire conversation. Good morning. Who do we have? Hey.
Oh, bless your heart, Bob. What's on your mind this morning? What's on your mind this morning? Oh, bless your heart. Thank you, Bob. That's Master Gardener, OSU Master Gardener Association is one of the funnest volunteer organizations I've ever run into. And I've been in various organizations, Kiwanis, Rotary. You got to dress up for all of those.
Oh, yes.
Way
Sorry.
too much. And the other thing I found out about Master Gardeners is they have the best potlucks. Absolutely.
And that was the biggest selling point for most people, is the food.
Yeah, especially Polly Blum's banana bread. Oh,
But
I can't say that.
the best place to get information is over at the Extension office, extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill. And then there's a link right there to the Master Gardeners. We've also got a Master Gardener website. And that's the best point of contact for us. You can also give the office a phone call, and they can get you a packet, or just stop in.
They are taking registrations now, and if you call 503-434-7517 and give them your name and address, they will mail you the complete packet, which has a wonderful explanation of exactly what Master Gardeners does. It will include the class schedule, your requirements. Besides the class, to actually become a certified Master Gardener, you have to perform 65 hours of volunteer service during the course of the year, which, if you think of it as, it's like the lab work for the class. It's like when you take chemistry in college, you have to have a lab, or biology in high school, you had to take the lab. And the volunteer service is the lab work. It's when you go out and experience communicating with the public. And this can be done at the Master Gardener desk at the Extension office. It can be done at farmers markets, festivals. We have tables at the Camellia Festival, the Daffodil Festival, the Lavender Festival. These are all social events that luckily are in the nice part of the summer.
Right. But, and he was asking about the list of the classes that we have available. Those are actually, that's online also. If you go to extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill, right there is a link for the Master Gardener webpage, and you pull that up, and right there it'll say the 2014 class schedule.
I'll give you a brief rundown of just the first month's classes are botany, herbaceous plants, plant ID, composting, soils, pesticides and pesticide safety, weeds, plant propagation. That's a really cool class.
Yes, it is. You get to make things.
It's taught by the lady that began the propagating for our plant sale. And if you've ever been to the local plant sale at the end of April, I remember when I first started, and I was astounded. And it's grown to the point now where we'll have thousands of tomato plants and squash plants and marigolds and lilies and dahlias.
No, that greenhouse over there, when it gets close to time for the plant sale, it gets really green and it gets filled up. And that doesn't include the plants that are at people's houses too.
Well,
but it is because of the propagation.
Have you seen it lately?
I haven't been there in a bit.
The gals on the Perennial Propagation Committee have just gone absolutely berserk this fall, and it is completely filled already with perennials for the plant sale in April. They'll be moving them out into the outside area so they can winter off. And there's already hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of perennials in little 4-inch pots, and they're beautiful.
And that's one of the committees that you can be on as part of a Master Gardener too, as part of the propagation committee. And that's where you get to go and make trimmings, make cuttings,
yep,
doing all of that fun stuff.
And start from scratch. There's actually 18 working committees where you can do your volunteer time. Everything from the library to the propagation committees, plant sale committees, public speaking, putting on programs for gardening groups. Habitat for Humanity.
But one of the more beneficial ones is when you're actually working, working the desk, is what they say. That's where you get the people call the calls in, the samples that you need to either be able to answer or give it to the right person. And that's where you really end up learning a lot.
Well, one of the beauties of the program is you don't have to know squat. That's one of the classes is teaching you how to do the research to find the answers for other people.
Exactly. Somebody has already found the answer. It's just your job to be able to locate that answer.
That's part of the online modules in how to do online research at various other not extension agencies, ag departments. One of my favorites is Department of Ag at Cal State Fullerton. It's a wonderful website that you can access. And then for our climates, the Department of Ag at the University of Minnesota, which pretty much covers the whole northern thing. But anyway, yeah, give us a call at 503-434-7517, and they'll hook you up with exactly what you're looking for.
And if you want if you want more information about the extension, the Master Gardener program, just give extension.oregonstate.edu/Yamhill a lookup, and you'll find more information about it there. Right now, we're going to go ahead and take a break. It is 9:46 right here on KLYC 1260 AM.
I get overly excited.
Produced food in Yamhill County. Golden Valley Restaurant and Brew Pub at 980 Northeast 4th Street in McMinnville is local. Locally brewed refreshment. Fresh local produce. Steak specials every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Golden Valley Restaurant and Brew Pub opens daily at 11, open till 9 p.m. Sunday, and most weekdays open till 10 Friday and Saturday. And they say go McMinnville and Newburgh High School. There are times you simply need a friend. Someone who will stop and listen to your needs. Macy and Sons have been serving families here since 1903. 5 generations of their family taking care of yours. Macy and Sons, in the business of helping people and meeting the individual needs of McMinnville area families, and will continue to do so in the future. So at the time when you need someone who cares, understands, and is there to help, Macy and Sons, serving 9 communities in Yamhill County.
When Tiger fans come to Newburgh Ford, they're often amazed at how many pre-owned cars and trucks we have. Sometimes they'll even ask, how do you get so many? Well, over the last few years, we've had the good fortune of selling the most new Fords in our Oregon dealer group, which means we get a lot of trade-ins, virtually all makes and all price ranges. And since we know where they came from, we can sell them with confidence. So if you're a Tiger fan looking to save money by purchasing a quality used vehicle, come see us at Newburgh Ford, where we just work harder for you.
Hi, I'm Jason, and I'm the service manager for Bugbusters. We are your full-service pest control company. We've been serving Northwest Oregon for over 25 years. We can help you handle any pest or get rid of any bugs, well, except those Volkswagens. Whether it's rats, ants, wasps, beetles, or any other bug or rodent, we can serve you. Mention this ad and get 10% off your first service. Call us today at 1-800-FAT-BUGS. That's 1-800-FAT-BUGS.
There we are, Ray. We're back from that break.
I was going to discuss some of the professors and teachers that we have in the classes coming here.
That's a really good thing to do because we have professional people that this is what they do for a living. These are the people that we get the answers from. These are the professors at OSU and other places, right?
Our botany class is taught by Linda McMahon, who recently retired as the extension professional, and her doctorate's in botany. Excellent class to take. The plant ID is by Richard House, who is a Oregon State University botany and plant pathologist, which is really interesting. The composting is by James Cassidy, an Oregon State University science, and I'm going to mess that word up, so I ain't even going to try it. But teaches the chemistry and the science behind effective composting. So that it's not just a pile of...
Again, one of those beneficial classes that I took away a lot, because you've got to heat the compost up to a certain degree to kill the bad things, to kill the seeds even too. And it's not something that I really gave a lot of thought to until I took this in-depth class of the things that you want.
What's really handy is the online classes, which are part of the course that you do at home on your own computer. You can access with any high-speed internet system, and it's really no more difficult getting into the online modules than it is accessing Facebook or anything like that. Although it is handy to have your password written down. We won't get into that one either. But Amy Grata, the OSU Extension agent from Columbia County, is going to discuss urban forestry for the day. And then some of our local volunteers, like Bob Grossman, who's a master gardener, but is a retired biology professor, and Jeff Olson, who is one of our local agents, will be discussing home orchards, and he's just a hoot to listen to.
It's a lot of things. It's something that, when you think of the gardening, obviously most people are thinking food, and the orchards are really popular to just, you have a tree in the backyard just to have apples growing from it, but you don't necessarily know, and this is what I learned from you last year, is that you have to spray beforehand. You gotta spray during. Maybe spraying some after.
Yeah, if you want the pretty fruit, you will.
Right, exactly. And it's funny that you say that, because the apple tree that I did spray this year, I got some of the biggest apples off of that tree that I have in the 3 years that we've had it. But I have this old apple tree that it must be about 50 feet tall, and not one single apple on it this year. Not one apple.
Was it a Gravestein? Because they only major produce every 2 years.
Well, this one has produced. We've been there 3 years, every year.
They may be just on break.
Maybe. I didn't realize that they could just, you know what, I'm taking a year off.
Or the time that they were actually in blossom could have been an off time for pollinators.
And that's what I would have thought.
They don't all bloom at the same time.
Right, exactly. But I would have thought that it would have gotten one apple or two apples, or because again, this is a really huge tree, but not a one.
If you were to take and thin that top out,
Probably have to.
Groom it up a little bit, and then you may not get a massive crop the first year after you do that, but the second year after you groom it, you'll be amazed at what you get.
And that's what happened with the little one. Is the little one 2 years ago I pruned it, and then the next year it wasn't so plentiful, and then the next year I sprayed it, and oh my gosh, the apples were big.
Well, that's because the tree doesn't waste its energy defending against disease and things of that nature. It can just go ahead and do what it's supposed to do and be very happy and successful about it.
And it's almost time to prune the apples. We go ahead and we wait a little while.
Yep, as soon as the leaves fall.
Well, I like to do it in, I like the idea of November. You wait for a little frost, a little cold hardening, and then you go ahead and snip.
Yep, whack it off. Groom it up. You get the extra branches and stuff off before we have that mystery snowfall in January.
Right.
That destroys a lot of people's home orchards.
Well, the leaves that are still on the trees, maybe some leaves that they go ahead and they fall under the weight of snow, because they're like, what the heck is snow?
That's a heck of a way to prune your tree. Sit around and pray for snow. Yeah. Ouch.
Right.
But
well, we were talking because we've got a little bit of time left, and the box elder bugs, they're still out there, and they're causing my havoc. But along with them is this brown marmorated stink bug.
Marmorated.
No, marmorated.
Marmorated?
I'm looking at it right here. M-A-R-M-O-R-A-T.
Marmorated.
Marmorated.
I've been pronouncing it wrong for a couple of years.
Well, that's probably because you thought it was some sort of orange jam, possibly.
Marmalade. Yeah, wrong. Okay, never mind.
So it's marmorated stink bug. This is an invasive species.
And it's here.
And it is now here. They've been trying to keep track of it, and I was excited because I had read this article on the OSU website, and so I've been looking for it, and I found a stink bug, but it was like, oh no, that's not the right one I'm looking for. And then so finally, among all of these box elders that are trying to get into my house through my screen, I find this brown marmorated. And so OSU has this tracking site for this. So if you find one, these brown marmorated stink bugs, and they look pretty distinctive, then you go ahead and you let them know so that they can track this invasive species.
They're evil because they eat everything.
They in 2010 they caused $38 million worth of damage.
Yep.
Which is a lot of money, and they're particularly going after the apples and the grapes and all of the other stuff that make Oregon agricultural money.
The other one is and you may correct me please, Drosophila fruit fly.
It is the spotted winged. Is that what?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that one is definitely. They're going after that one far more than they are the stink bug because it causes more damage. But for me, it was interesting because it was my chance to be the reporter, the data gatherer for the university. It's like, oh, I found a bug. Let me go ahead and I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to document it. And I'm going to send it in to the right person. And so I go ahead and I do that, and I get an email back almost directly saying, thank you for the documentation. Nice photo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was almost like a reward for doing the fun things.
Yeah, and that's just more stuff we learned in the Master Gardener course.
Right, and I probably wouldn't have known about that because they are trying to track these things, and it's not just the stink bugs. It is the spotted wing Draplia.
Yeah, nasty little booger translation.
Exactly. And those are really fun to see all of the traps that they have set up at the vineyards for them, because they are trying to at least track them, catch them, kill them. And right next to every yellow jacket trap, there's this sticky paper.
And that's one of the things you learn in class is how to make a trap.
Right.
And you can learn to trap apple maggots.
Yes.
That's another one that you need to trap to find out if it's in your orchard or on your city lot.
Because you can't stare at the tree long enough to see these things.
Nah. Yeah.
You just have to put something sticky in their path, and then they stop moving.
Yep. Kind of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And again, like for me, it was I'm a scientist. I'm part of the system. I'm a gatherer. I know exactly what that bug is, and that's the bug I've been looking for.
And then you smash it and you find out why it's called a stink bug.
Right. You know what? What is really great about the stink bug is because their scent isn't stinky per se, but it's like a crushed almond almost, and it's distinctive enough that you don't want to keep smelling it, but it isn't. It's not like the dump. It's not like anything so foul and wretched, but it is. But for many insects, many other animals, they're like, whoa, wait a second, I don't want almonds.
Well, it's their defense mechanism.
Yeah.
When they're scared or threatened, they ward off their normal predators with their stink too. Yeah.
Oh, I picked him up with a Kleenex just because I didn't want it on my hand, and then as soon as I put him in the glass jar, I had to give the Kleenex just a little whiff. Just
check it out.
Yep, that's the stink bug smell.
Oh, ew.
But it's just one of those smells that you know when you smell it, you know exactly what it is.
Well, we want to thank you for checking in with To the Root of It today. This has been a fun discussion. You want to be sure and call OSU Extension Service, Master Gardeners, at 503-434-7517, and the office is located at 2050 Northeast Lafayette Avenue. Is it really Northeast Lafayette? I just thought it was Lafayette.
Nope, it's Northeast.
I'll be dead.
I did not learn about any of these directional streets until I moved this way, because everywhere else in the world that I've lived, we don't have directional southeast, northwest, north, southeast.
Well, it's right across the street from the
We've got
parking lot.
We've got north and we've got south. There's no and there's an east and there's a west. But do streets go diagonal? Is that the northeast, southwest?
Yeah.
Is that what that is all about? Because my southeast street is running west-east.
That's why no matter where you go in McMinnville, you run across 99.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Because it goes northeast, southwest, straight up north and south.
Awesome. Well, everybody out there, you've got to get used to the cooling spell that's going to be coming up here, but don't let that keep you from doing the things that you need to in the garden.
No, I went over and rescued some pansies yesterday. That's going to be my project this afternoon, because they'll tolerate the cold coming up. It's not going to bother them.
Well, you're looking at a 65. I'm pretty sure we'll get there by 4 o'clock this afternoon, so you'll have some nice weather. But
For 20 minutes.
Right, exactly. But until then, we're going to take a break for a week, and we will be back here next Saturday for the weekly To the Root of It, your Yamhill County Master Gardener radio show, right here on 1260 AM KLYC.
Thank you for listening.